Hi guys. So I want to read on Don Jr. First of all, I know it's been a while, and I just wanted to say real quick how great I thought the inauguration day was. It felt so good. I thought everything went really smooth and just felt so like such a relief and such a lifting of tensions. It just sort of felt like a perfect day. One perfect day, and now we're a little back to reality. But I have also enjoyed so much of what Biden's doing every day and how different his administration is, his press briefings, his press secretary. It's just all feels so good and so right and such a relief. And so that's really nice. Of course, there's still a lot of weird things that we're gonna have to keep fighting through. So one thing I keep thinking about is in a read I did, not the last one, but the one before, something like Trump Fade Out. And one of the cards I pulled to start that read I felt was Don Jr. And I think, and I wonder, and this is what I want to read on, that Don Jr. is about to sort of be the center of an investigation concerning that insurrection that happened on January 6th. And one thing I have seen the last couple of days, it turns out there was this meeting at Trump Hotel in Washington, D.C. on January 5th at night. And it was like Don Jr. was sort of running this meeting, and it was like his brother Eric, Mike Flynn, Corey Lewandowski, just sort of like some other names you may or may not know, Peter Navarro, David Bossie, Adam Piper, and Tommy Tuberville, who is a senator of Alabama who's denying he was there, which is also suspicious. Why would you deny it? Basically, when I see about that meeting, I feel that like Don Jr. was like heading up that meeting and therefore maybe heading up other meetings, and maybe he is sort of the guy that helped to like generate a lot of what happened that day on the 6th, the insurrection. I also saw a video that the Wall Street Journal had posted. I'll see if I can find it and I'll post it in the notes if you want to watch it. And it really makes it look like a lot of the Proud Boys leaders had like, first of all, earpieces, like they're communicating with each other and leading these groups that ended up smashing through the windows. And it almost makes you wonder if they were trained, military trained. And I thought of another read I did where I saw Eric Prince was in Trump's ear. And like that, what Eric Prince's advice was like propelling Trump to rebel against the results and all that. So I'm wondering, because Eric Prince, his company for a very long time, and I think he's got a new company that does the same thing. He basically trains hired military type, staffs people with military personnel, like military soldiers, like soldiers for hire. So he would know how to help train some Proud Boys in military tactics. So I wonder about both of those people coming up in some trials. So let's just in general though, read on Don Jr., see if any of these elements come up in the read or what. So, what's going on with John Jr.? What did he get up to? What was he involved in? What is coming for him in his life? Help us to see Don Jr. Okay, so here's what I get. For that, I feel like his life is actually pretty basic or easy to sort of read what's going on with him right now. We have a Two of Swords here. He's making choices in his life. he's at a crossroads trying to figure out what's next. Covered by a Six of Swords, which is literally like moving. He's transitioning. So he's in a time of decision making and transition, and he literally is moving. And I heard he's moving to some really nice area of Florida, and all these people are sending in letters asking that he not move in with his girlfriend. I don't think they're engaged, but maybe they will be. Queen of Wands, I see her at the surface right now. I just feel that she has a lot of influence over him right now. She sort of rules him. Look at all that like fire in this card. It's interesting. And the attitude, that just is so her. I think she kind of bosses him around. And I think she used to be married to Gavin Newsom, which is weird, when he was, well, he still is governor. I'm not sure if it was when he was governor or something, but she definitely has ambitions to be like a power couple in politics. So she's sort of, I don't know, she might be kind of using Junior. I mean, look, I don't know, I'm sure there's more to it, but I'm positive that's part of it, is that she wants them to be a power couple. And so she probably does want him in politics. She wants them to be in politics. At the base, we have this King of Wands. I believe it's sort of like, it's interesting because it's like he's riding on the shoulders of his father and he's being ruled by his girlfriend. So where is he in this? I don't know. He's a little bit absent in his own read. But he prefers that. He likes to be led and ruled. Maybe he just always was and hasn't really found that to work for him. He likes to be led by strong personalities who tell him what to do and who to be. In the past, Eight of Coins, this is the near past, I think that he has proven himself to be pretty good at being this awful figure that he is. Eight of Coins being figuring out what you're good at, like how you can make money. And I think I would say that he probably has found a niche for himself during this last 4 or 5 years. So he wants to take that and start a new venture, this Fool card. So he's taking what he's been doing, even though he can't, he's going to start a new venture. It's not going to be just for his dad anymore. I take it back, with that King of Wands at the base, it probably does have to do with his dad, or at least be based on continuing that brand of Trumpism. So he may run a new venture built off of or continuing to elevate Trump Sr. And I'm sure his girlfriend Kimberly would like Junior to carry that into his own political future, political career. I'm sure she would like him to go all the way to the top himself with her by his side. Maybe he's gonna run for something. I mean, whatever she tells him to do. Or start. I don't really know what people do in politics when they're not running. They get involved in some ways, but some sort of, I don't know, like what's a super PAC? Or a new venture. Maybe could it be that political media startup that they were talking about doing, but something that is for Junior himself and definitely relating to politics, which is so ironic because he's really he's just a guy who knows how to market. He's not really interested or knowledgeable on policy. He's just like a PR guy, like his dad. We do have an Ace of Swords here with a card that in this deck is called Unknown. This I read as, I think we are referring here to what I was talking about, this Ace of Swords would be like an investigation. So this investigation into what I was talking about, the insurrection, the rioting, it's a new investigation, and he's involved because there's some unknown here. Like, I read this as, what was his involvement? So an investigation into his involvement is occurring. I know it's occurring with journalists, so hopefully also. Watching back, I just heard the laundry ding in the background of this video right after I mentioned journalists investigating, which makes me wonder if a big story is about to drop on this. In whatever other investigations there are, maybe the investigation that we're talking about with the impeachment that's coming up. So he's in the mix of possibly people wondering how involved he was in that. I just don't feel like Junior himself is thinking about it. So I don't know what that means. If maybe he just has the arrogance to not have to think of these things, but other people are thinking of it. Seven of Coins. I read this very much as, now a Seven of Coins is sort of an illusion delusion card, or it could be sort of dreaming of things, fantasizing about things. I read this as, this is for entertainment purposes only, just what I pick up intuitively from tarot cards, that I think this has to do with his drug use. It's in the hopes and fears. I think people are worried about it. And not only that, not only like because they care about him, but because they're worried that it's a crutch, that maybe he doesn't really have the confidence that he tries to exude, but that it's just like a problem because it's a necessity, a dependency. So there's fears. What would be the hopes? I think it's something that he worries about too. He likes to think he doesn't need it. It's like that denial. And then final outcome, divine justice. So that's interesting, and I'm going to throw a couple more cards on that. But I immediately looked at the bottom of the deck after I pulled that and saw a little story here. So again, this Seeker of Cups is like a Page of Cups. It's small. I think it's on his mind a little bit, or he's somewhat a. I think that this investigation, and his culpability is on his mind, but just a tiny bit. And he is a small figure that they're looking at. This magician I would see as part of as a series of people involved in an investigation. The magician. He feels so above it. He feels like his ego feels like he thinks he's just so above it all. He like really looks down on people, like service people, like you would, like people in law enforcement, even just like FBI, like they're just like nothing to him, like that. Because he just feels that there's like a different kind of power that doesn't have to deal with this kind of stuff. But we'll see. So this investigation, also this Ace of Coins, okay? So this I had seen in that read I did that made me want to read on him right now. There was a payment made to someone, something tied to this. And I do see, Junior as having been part of the whole that made that happen with a payment, with some money. Oh, this magician could be also that meeting. That actually seems right, but the magician would be bigger than just one meeting. It would be the bigger network of power players that pulled the strings behind the scenes to produce that insurrection. And these cards say Don Jr. was one of them, here as the Page of Cups, or it says the Seeker of Cups. I read that he does this to please his dad, to serve him, in hopes of getting his love. And as much as I cannot stand the kid, that is kind of sad. And then here we have the Hierophant, which would be like the government, involved here. They're involved and they want to know about the exchange of money. And again, here with the Six of Coins, wanting to track payments. So I think they're talking, when the FBI talks to these people, they want to know who paid you. That's what this Six of Coins is. This is sort of like a very wealthy person giving money to people who are less wealthy. Who gave you, who paid you? Who financed this or that? Who paid for your plane tickets? That kind of thing. And then the Great Wheel of Fortune here, like who financed this thing to get the wheel turning? Someone was financing some things to get the wheel turning that got us to that insurrection, that attack. Well, King of Swords kind of like brings you to the attack also in this, you know, especially in this picture. But I feel this to be an investigator. King of Swords would be like an investigator. So it can mean both of those things. That's a lot of times when I read these cards, like, I don't mean to just throw out several things it could mean, but like it can actually mean all of those things. There's like layers to it. So anyway, and then we get the we get the Emperor upside down with the Sage of Swords upside down. This for sure being Trump, this Emperor upside down. So it's like this, the investigation is really into Trump and how, and his army that was created for him, that Sage of Swords upside down, you know, in the service of the Emperor, these upside down, like being crooked and corrupted and wrong. So I get, you know, there's some burdens coming for Junior and this Four of Cups, just some things he would not want. Things he doesn't want to face, doesn't want to answer to. You know, we need you to answer these things. He doesn't want to do it. I wonder, I would love to these people to have to sit and testify to these questions in front of all of us. We deserve that. This Two of Cups, who did he partner with? And this, get this, Two of Wands overseas, and then we have the World card. This takes me to like Putin. This partnership, looking overseas for advice. I know that Putin was advising them. No doubt. Only Putin would know how, you know, to do all of this, to have caused such chaos in our country, because he did it himself to his own country in order for him to get into power. So, and then this World card being like the much bigger picture of not just the Trumps or the GOP wanting to take over the country, but, you know, the world mob, as I call it. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is shuffle a little more and throw a couple more cards. What does this divine justice mean for Junior? What is coming? What will the divine justice look like for Don Jr.? Show us divine justice. Okay, so what I get here with these clarifiers is, first of all, it's really interesting to get so many major arcana. We have Justice, the Sun upside down, High Priestess, and then at the base at that time was the Strength card. So, and what I get, this Six of Cups would be like nostalgia, going back to simpler and sweeter times, a kindness. This upside down Sun tells me he's not going to be loved, first of all, the way he would like to be loved. This would be wonderful cards if that Sun was upright. Could be a very happy, lovely future. And also the son, because he is the son. He's Junior. He's Trump's son. He's riding on his father's shoulders. He is not his father. It's not gonna work. Not that I care about his success, but he's not going to have it. The sun will not shine on Don Jr. And you know, where else the sun doesn't shine is prison. I don't know. When you've got the justice card and the sun upside down, I don't know. To be honest, I'd be surprised if he actually ended up behind bars. But he's not gonna have this happy life. At least not in the final outcome of what he's up to now in this reading, what he's aspiring to and venturing into now. And I gotta say, like, when I was feeling into this card, I feel like this is sort of where Donald Jr.'s, it's like he got, his soul is like basically if he had been raised well and with nice parents, he would have been a nice guy. That's what I feel. Like that he was like a sweet kid. He wants to make people happy. He got like, what's the word? It's like the arrested development. Like he got traumatized as a kid. And but there's like a piece of him that's still there, that's still like this child. That like, if he could have his way, he still would want that. He's still stuck wanting just like love and happiness. But this upside down sun, he's not gonna get it. And maybe this says that he's gonna eventually have to sort of feel the pain of that child. Like maybe he never felt the pain. I don't know, it's there. I think it's just sort of a piece of him, a part of him. In some twisted way, he thinks he's gonna get there if he just keeps pleasing everyone. And by everyone, I mean the right-wing bubble he's thriving in now, with the two people ruling his life, his girlfriend and his dad, who I think take advantage of his pliable nature. Not to make him a victim, I realize he himself is a hurtful and violent figure. I just feel him to be a really messed up guy. And also, whatever this ambition is here, this Fool card, it's not gonna go anywhere. Although, you know, like I said, the cards can have more than one meaning. And I realize, like, this Queen of Wands with this Fool card, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they have a baby, maybe get married and have a baby. Like, she's at the surface, so. She is 51, might not be children, but just them starting their life together in a brand new way. Maybe that makes him think they can have this happy family, but it's just like not gonna work out. And then this High Priestess card underneath it here, with that I'm sort of reading with this Justice card. And all of this, like, he's not gonna be a beloved figure like he maybe thinks. People are not gonna like him. They're not gonna wanna see him. And people have their eye on him. It's like you can see through this guy. And that's what I feel very strong here. Like, he doesn't know how many people can see right through him. And with that Justice card, it's just like he's not gonna be fooling people. I mean, he's always gonna have that, there's always gonna be a population, I suppose, but like I don't think he realizes how very despised he is. And it's because people can see through him. This High Priestess being like a sort of wisdom and intuition. I feel like people just have a wisdom and intuition about him and sort of stare him down, like, and that's part of the divine justice. If, you know, this of course could mean actual legal justice. But the divine justice will be that people are just want nothing to do with him. And I can't help, this is a little on the nose because of what this High Priestess looks like. But I'm like, does Letitia James have She's always been waiting beneath the surface in these reads for me. Like, okay, Letitia, come on out now and take them down, please. But that could be her. And then this strength card, I weirdly feel like, I don't know, I feel like he might get by without like prison, but that he might like have a sort of awakening or a rebirth, but I mean like 20 years from now, 10 years, 20 years. There's like, it's like this card brings me to this, like, I don't know if he's gonna like come out and write a book and like leave all this garbage behind and have a new perspective. Not that I care to read his book, but I just think he might have a second chance. And I know, I like, who wants that? I know, but it's like when I read into like what he could have been, the guy he could have been, who knows? Maybe it would help a lot of people if he would get real and get honest about how he got sucked into this, about how he got so twisted in his head. I mean, this Seeker of Wands and Seeker of Cups just feels like childlike, like getting, like peeling off. I'm getting like a lot of like dizzy energy on this, which makes me feel like I'm onto something, like sort of like shaking off all the phony, fake, rich wealth. It's almost like he goes and like lives on a ranch or something and just like gives up the rich life and the, you know, maybe a house arrest sort of thing. That could be this strength card, like a house arrest. You know, maybe dad's gone, maybe all of this period is gone, and he finally just gets sober and becomes himself and you know, maybe even finds love. You know, maybe this magician, maybe a book like that would help people. And then we have this Ace of Coins. I'm like, plus he needs money, so he writes a book. Anyway, sorry, like when I get into a read and I become sympathetic, it's like I forget, I don't know. Not that I should apologize, but I mean, look, if he really was genuinely sorry and came clean. I mean, I don't mean to be sympathetic to someone who would, you know, happily hurt our country and so many people and has, but it's just hard when you feel into like what he could have been, what he could be, if he, you know, what he could teach others about how you can get caught up in the addictions of money and corruption and how you can get out of it. I suppose that would be helpful to society. Anyway, that's my read on Don Jr. I found that pretty interesting. I hope you did too. I really like being able to share this stuff with you guys. Let me know if you had any hits on any of the cards or in your own intuitions on your end. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.